everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Today I'd like to do a bit of a case study on a corset that I've just made. This is an underbust corset for a friend of mine who is doing a trade with me. And yeah, it's an underbust corset. In terms of shape, I would say it's maybe like a modern hourglass silhouette, but curvier. It's not a cupped hourglass, you know, not an extreme shape, but it is still very curvy. It has a bit of an Edwardian tilt to it, in that it has a flat front and a lot more space in the back hips and side hips, because my friend has a sway back and a back tilting pelvis, so she needs that extra space in the back hip, so that she doesn't get pinching and so it doesn't hurt her back, because corsets that force her posture to be straight tend to make her back sore. So I put lots of extra space in the back there to accommodate for her hips. And as you can see also, this pillow isn't very curvy, so I padded it out with socks, but obviously it'll look a lot better on her than it does on the pillow. Yeah, so I'll get on with the rest of the study. Here's the corset lying flat. This corset is constructed of 4 layers: an outer fashion fabric, 2 layers of couture, and an inner floating lining. So the fashion fabric of this corset is this gorgeous turquoise and black Vietnamese silk brocade, which I picked up when I was travelling in Vietnam. It is just the most gorgeous fabric. The camera doesn't pick it up well. I think it looks a bit too green, honestly, but it's actually, yeah, almost a true turquoise with black, and when you move around in the different light, it can, you know, it almost glows. It's beautiful. Obviously I use English cotton couture for my 2 strength layers, and on the inside I have this very, very cute cotton, which has silhouettes of, you know, pretty ladies, which I think is perfect for my client, since she is herself a very elegant, pretty lady. The construction method I used for this corset is a Waltz seam method, which basically encases all of the seam allowances in between the 2 strength layers, as well as the waist tape, and sandwiches the bones between the 2 layers, and basically you construct each panel sort of all layers at once. I did have a few struggles with this because I've never used that technique before, and especially over some of the curvier seams it was quite challenging, and I kind of did have to wrestle with my fabric a bit. And it was also a bit difficult to get all my layers to line up. So while I won't be abandoning this method, there are other methods I do prefer, and I need a lot more practice at this method before I'm really comfortable with it. But yeah, the fashion layer has been fused to the couture, which makes it a lot easier to handle. I did try flatlining it to a bit of scrap couture, and it was wrinkly as all get out, and it was awful. And yeah, most of the other methods I tried, it did not look nice. It wrinkled, it pulled, it was just really horrible to work with any other way, but that's okay. So in terms of hardware, at the front we have a bust closure. This is a 1-inch wide stainless steel busk from Vina Cava. Very sturdy. Not much to say about it really. The 2 pins at the bottom are a bit closer together to hold in the tummy a bit better, but really, you know, it's a standard high quality busk. Not really much to say about it. For the loops of the busk, I made buttonholes to stick them through. I like this. I think it's a bit neater, and it also allows you to fold your strength layer over the busk as opposed to having a seam there, because I feel potentially that a seam could be weaker because you are relying on the thread to hold the busk in rather than the actual fabric, and the actual fabric is very strong, being couture. So, you know, I much prefer that, but honestly it just depends on, there's nothing wrong with the other method, of course, but I just like that extra bit of security. This corset is constructed from a 6-panel pattern that was custom drafted to my client's measurements. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 panels. Now there are 24 bones in this corset. There are 4 1/4 inch wide flat steels sandwiching the grommets, and there are 20 1/4 inch spirals in total, so 10 on each side. 5 of them are on the seam, 5 of them are in the middle of the panel. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the seam, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the middle of the panel. Now, what I actually worked out with the help of some other corsetiers, which is quite clever as a method to make the boning in the middle of the panel virtually invisible. You might be able to see the indent of it, but there's no stitching visible on the outside, and I'm not actually going to tell you how I did that, but I'm really pleased with how it turned out, because you know, I wanted to minimize the amount of stitching because I didn't want to break up this gorgeous pattern. So yeah, that's the boning, and you may also notice the flossing detail that I have on each of the bones. This is basically just a pink silk that I have flossed sort of a V pattern onto. Originally this corset wasn't going to be flossed, but basically my client's favourite colour is pink. I knew that, and I had this pink silk lying around, and I put it up against the fabric of the corset, and I said to her, what do you think of this? I think it's pretty cute. And she went, oh my gosh, it's gorgeous, you have to. So I decided, yeah, that I'd floss it, and I think it's turned out really well. It's really striking in a good way. It doesn't distract from the pattern at all. If anything, it brings it out more. So I really love flossing in general. And this one, it was fairly easy to floss because I decided to put the flossing on before I put the binding on. It's always harder if you want the back of your stitches to be invisible and hidden inside the corset. It's always more difficult to do it after the binding has been applied. So yeah, there are 22 5mm prim grommets, 2-part, in this corset. So if I, yeah, that's better. Actually, I might bring it closer. So, you know, just silver 5mm grommets. I hammer set them, so by hand. They all rolled really well, no splits. You know, now that I've got the technique down pat, and I'm not putting my washers on backwards, because at some point I did start putting my washers on backwards. I didn't realise that the little dip of the washer had to go this way up, because I don't know, it just seemed kind of counterintuitive to me. But yeah, the grommets rolled really well, so I'm happy with that. And there's 11 on each side. Yeah, grommets. And the binding. So the binding on the outside was machine stitched and then folded over so you can't see the stitching. And then on the inside, I used an invisible ladder stitch, which basically means that the stitching is invisible. Yay! Some people call this a couture finish. I like the sound of that. I just like it because it's neater and tidier and looks pretty, and means that everything on the inside is nice and smooth. I really like that. But yeah, couture finish, whatever you want to call it. That's how I like to do my binding though. Yeah, and also I shall be putting some aglets on the ends of the ribbon that I have. So obviously I've got my ribbon. I've also got these lovely aglets which I will sew on the end, because I don't have a crimping tool. I don't trust myself to crimp them with some pliers. I'm sure I'd stuff it up greatly. And the great thing too about sewing them on is it leaves them completely intact if you have to remove them, because unfortunately they don't go through the holes in the grommets. They're a bit big. Which is totally fine. It just means you have to apply them once the corset's been laced. So obviously you put them on the end and it looks really pretty. And I really like them. So yeah, and really that's that. I hope you enjoyed my short little case study on this corset. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I love hearing from you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!